Hello, my good YouTubers. Um, I've got a bit of a cold today, so you'll have to excuse me, but this is another follow-up video of my e-smoking experiences for anybody that's interested. Um, I moved from the small starter kit, which is supposed to be the starter e-smoking kit for beginners. I moved from that because it wasn't reliable enough. It hadn't just didn't really work for me. I wouldn't recommend it even for starters, to be honest with you. So I think really it's kind of a catch-22. I think that anybody who wants to start with e-smoking has really got to start with a good quality bit of kit. So what is seen as a advanced e-smokers or e-cig kit is really probably better for the beginner rather than some real cheap ass nasty piece of rubbish. I mean, I'm not saying that the beginner kit that comes from Totally Wicked is actually cheap and nasty, because it's actually pretty good quality build, but it doesn't. If you just come off cigarettes, and you kind of want something that's got a bit of impact, something that actually produces some good level of smoke, and it's sort of in the middle with its effectiveness as a smoking tool, if you want to put it that way, or vaping tool, however you wish to look at it. So I don't personally recommend the it's the 107, 108, I think, model for that. I think with a lot of it, the batteries on these things are quite fragile, and they do wear out, and they will wear out quite quick, which is not good. Especially, I mean, if you're doing a lot of cigarettes and a lot of smoking, which means you're going to be doing a lot of vaping, it means that it's going to wear your batteries down a lot quicker. They're not going to take it. I think it's good to suggest really that you should keep the batteries for mobile use when you're smoking out and about. But when you're at home or at work or near your computer or anything like that, you should be plugging in. So I got a pass-through unit. Now that's pass-through unit that I got was for the Titan. Now, I chose to go with the Titan because obviously it's nice and thin. It's not like the Tornado or any of the bigger 901, 801 sort of things where they're a lot thicker in thickness, and they're also heavier. So I didn't want to go with those. I kind of wanted the smallness but powerful, and I kind of get that. You do get that with the Titan 510. Now I went for the Mega model, which instead of the standard Titan 510 that uses a single cell lithium ion in its battery, rather than the Titan Mega has two cells inside its battery, hence it's longer. But that makes a big difference, a very big difference. Helps produce a tremendously large amount of atomization. It keeps the voltage high for longer. I've had it, last several hours. Really is, a good investment. But again, it's an expensive one, and it doesn't come cheap. Obviously, as I say, there's the 7.5% discount that you can get either from the coupon below this video or anybody else's coupon that are floating around. There's a lot of them. So, you can get discounts on it, which brings it down just above £50. I think it was about £54, something like that, which is still quite expensive, but it's well worth it. And especially if you're looking at using e-liquid rather than refillable cartridges, it's an absolute must. But I advise anybody, if they're starting out, they don't want to go for big kits or whatever, I really would actually advise them to buy a pass-through which is $9.99 from the Totally Wicked site, and buy a pack of the Titan Mega Atomizers. The Mega Atomizers are a lot bigger in capacity. You don't have to fill them as much because they're pretty much double the size of the standard cartridge, and they really do last a good length of time between fillings. So you get a really good experience with it, and I've had the best experiences with it in that way. Stuck onto a pass-through unit, which is this. As you can see, it's got a wire on it. It comes into this plastic sort of handheld, because obviously it ends there. There's a plastic piece here. When you've got your little tiny button, can't see that because of the light, but there you go. So you've got that little button there which you push. This is the Mega, as you can see. That's the atomizer and the cartridge. Take the cartridge out, and that's the atomizer. That's the silver part. As you can see, the cartridge itself is quite a considerably larger cartridge, which allows for a lot more e-smoking, but the quality of the smoking experience that you get with this, especially these Titan Mega Atomizers, is superb. There's not a bad point I can put about it. It certainly is a superb experience, superb smoking experience, and is definitely what would send anybody who's a current smoker into wanting to use any electronic cigarette. And obviously, as I say, there's the $9.99. It gets you the pass-through unit that plugs in via USB. You can use the like an iPod or MP3 style charger, because they come out on the 5 volts and they charge through a USB connection into the bottom of the device. I know the Sony ones do. So you can use one of those, any kind of USB charging system really, and you can get plug adapters like this. This is a plug adapter here. Obviously this is for the UK, so it's 3-pin, but on the bottom you've got a USB. That's all it does. It just powers down and comes out on a USB, and then you just plug your pass-through unit straight into that, and you're basically bumped off the beans, if you want to put it that way. So it's really good for starters, and it's not too expensive. As I say, the Atomizer Mega pack, it's a multi-pack of 5 that they do, is $22.99, and then you've got $9.99 for the pass-through. It's a fairly good option to take. They've got some other offers on for the standard Titan 510, the non-Mega model, but they come with batteries. Now, if you want to get that as well as a pass-through unit, then you can do, but they're obviously the standard size atomizers with the standard size cartridges, so you're going to be filling up a lot more. But as I say, I personally recommend that you use the Mega Atomizers, because they really do hold a lot of liquid, and they're brilliant for dripping as well. And because they're a manual battery, you haven't got to worry about any sort of damages from liquid falling down into the battery, or the electrics or anything like that. So you're fine. But as I say, I suggest and recommend that as a good start. I've had over the past few days some absolutely excellent experiences with it. And I was to say, I'm pleased with the whole Titan range really. I may try some of the bigger, other higher milliamp hour E-Cigs in the future. But to be perfectly honest with you, as a good base standard and a good ground level the standard. It has to be the Titan 510. I don't really think anything else is quite coming close to that, especially from the products from Totally Wicked anyway. Haven't tried many of the products from other people apart from the E-Cig, which, as I say, there's the other review on that, which all in all was fairly impressive, but just not reliable enough really in sense. But the Titan 510, that's my experiences on it, and I recommend that people would use the pass-through unit to start with, because you're going to get the best performance really, and you've got something to compare a good level of experience from the pass-through, so you can compare that against the sort of battery usages on the others. So it's a good way to go, and it's not that expensive, especially if you just buy the atomizers and then buy the pass-through unit, some refillable cartridges or stuff like that. Just the small normal things, and the e-liquid. You've got a multitude to choose from on the e-liquid, and say try and check out the offers on the e-liquids. That's what I do. Otherwise, you're paying full whack for these selective flavors and things. But I've learned to start playing with those, and looked into sort of mixing them and playing with the flavors, and it's not been too bad. In fact, actually, it's been quite exciting. So it's good to look at the mixing kits as well. You got to bear in mind, even if you spend a large amount of money on a kit, you're still going to be looking at the money for a mixing kit, if you're going to go down that route. So either way you're looking at it, it's going to cost you that small investment to start with, but it's really cheap afterwards. I'm probably vaping about 5 to 10 milliliters of e-liquid every week, so to speak. So it's not it's not really that expensive when once you're set up. It's fairly cheap to that extent. These mega cartridges, as I say, they're lasting about 1.5 to 2 days, really. They're doing very well and very impressive, and they're also incredibly light, really, for what they are. I've got the platinum version, but they're made out of brass, and I think this is stainless steel, plated or something. But it's come out really well, and the build quality of the Totally Wicked gear is absolutely amazing. As I say, there's very little that I can say bad about the Titan series. Superb items. Again, I wouldn't recommend the Super, as they call it, which is I believe the DSE 108. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, even as a starter kit. I know it's cheap, but it's not reliable enough. If they make a pass-through unit for it, which I might make a pass-through unit for it to use the atomizers, but if they make a pass-through unit for it and they start selling a pass-through unit, then I reckon that would be good. People obviously can start really enjoying it, because then they can put it on a pass-through unit, see what the atomizers are fully capable of, and then compare it to batteries and things like that. But to me, it doesn't seem reliable enough and good enough. And now, obviously, I've experienced the Titan 510 Mega. It just beats it hand down. It's a lovely E-Cig device. So anybody who's starting out on this stuff, I really would recommend the Titan. It might be a little bit more expensive to go that route, but it'll pay off in the long run. And for somebody who just wants to try it, you can buy one atomizer. I think one atomizer is coming in at $7.99, and obviously the pass-through at $9.99. Get yourself a cheap bottle of e-liquid. Bob's your uncle. You're pretty much set up for 30-40 quid on a pass-through unit, with a great atomizer. Superb stuff. Again, 7.5% discount. So, get on top of it. That's all I can say about it. I buy all my stuff. My stuff doesn't come free. I'm not one of these people who's shooting you crap to try and sell their product. I'm just saying, it's good. This is all about my experiences with the product. It's not actually anything else. But I like it, and it's come through, and it's doing a good job, and it's scaringly very close to a cigarette experience. But it's a different experience. It is different. And it's enjoyable. It has a new level of smoking pleasure to it. It's in a way, it's like the 21st century smoker. But anyway, give it a try, see what you think. There's plenty of discount codes around, 7.5% discounts. Get started with it, give it a go. Everybody's got to do it before they die, so it's good stuff. And remember, this stuff's a lot healthier. It doesn't kill you. That's the major difference. So, anyway, I shall speak to you soon. I shall do another YouTube video actually on a better review of the batteries for the Titan Mega. See you soon. Thank you, my good YouTubers, and bye-bye.